Hi, so I'm going to be doing vlog discussion 8 in relation to chapter 5 in RA, the resources of argument. And I'll also be discussing our activity that we had in the discussion page regarding refutation. So I'm just going to expand on the book definition of refutation and talk about how it was implemented in the activity. So the book says that answering and rebuting the arguments of the opposition is one of the commonest but most important strategies. In an organizational pattern that examines arguments pro and con, it can work strategically to answer questions in the minds of the audience and to inoculate them against competing persuaders. So initially when I read that, it brings me back to my argumentation and debate course that I took at a community college a few years ago. And a common exercise that we would have is debate, by which the opposing side would present points and you as the other side would have to come up with arguments against their arguments in order to essentially cancel them out or make them non-applicable. And so it was kind of like a competition type of thing. So in the discussion, our activity was to choose one of the pair readings from RPC Chapter 4. In this discussion, I decided to choose The Pernicious Rise of Populism by Austerlitz. So basically during this essay, Austerlitz is arguing that populism is negative. I was under the impression that populism is kind of like a cultural, how do I explain it? A cultural like enthusiasm for pop music. And he was basically arguing that it was detrimental to the music world because it takes away the attention from other genres. And I guess that he just really opposed mainstream music, and his type of music that he liked to listen to was kind of uncommon. So the entire argument was centralized around how populism is bad and how it has a negative effect on society and music culture. He also mentioned that populism has been growing in popularity and that prior to history it wasn't ever a thing. So for my refuting, it was my job to come up with arguments against his arguments. Some of this is going to be repetitive because I had already presented this in a video, but as I previously mentioned, my arguments for addressing his were that, firstly, pop music is popular for a reason. There's a reason why the fan base for pop music is so broad and why pop music gets more media coverage than other genres such as rock or maybe hip hop. I feel like pop music can be applicable in all events, all portions of life, and it's appropriate for every single age group. So in refuting his argument, I feel like by saying that, it's obvious that it's going to have a bigger fan base because it reaches a more generalized group of people, especially kids and families. I feel like that's a big point when bringing up populism and mainstream music, is that the audience can be anybody. Secondly, populism that favors pop music is popular because of its common themes. I feel like maybe other genres might have different themes that, not everybody can relate to, but pop music is very cookie cutter, where it kind of essentializes maybe things like love or heartbreak. Everyone can relate to it. Everyone would enjoy listening to that type of music. And then thirdly is how he was basically stating that the media and the coverage is limiting on other, types of music. It's like forcing, it's like shoving pop culture or pop music down people's throats and, like suffocating them. And it's basically, he's basically arguing that it's limiting. Well, my final argument would be that pop music is actually incorporating other genres and is a little bit of rock, a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of everything. So in reality, it actually introduces other types of music to people. So it's actually beneficial.